question real quick. And I can move that back.
No, this is perfect.
Right.
Yep. So
I'm gonna sit next to you.
So we're just waiting for some folks to come in on Zoom. Some folks to come in the room itself, but we wanted to get started here just in case someone shows up. We'll wait a couple of minutes. I know that nobody's here, but for the recording, we're just going to wait a couple of minutes and make sure that we have everybody that wants to be in attendance. Believe it or not, some people might be like making dinner or bringing kids home or going to work and coming home, those kind of things. So we just want to give everybody the opportunity to show up. I'm really excited to do this. I am a Meridian Ranch member here. Been living here in Meridian Ranch for 14 years. I'm actually in the original filing. So yeah, but I'm not on the DRC or the HOA, so you don't have to hate me or anything like that. It's all good. So we'll just wait a little bit longer, maybe a minute or two, but we want to honor people's time and make sure that we have full representation to get that information out. Hello, hello. Welcome to the Zoom meeting. We're just going to get started here in a minute. We're waiting on maybe one or two people more to show up physically. So just go ahead and get your pen and paper ready. Hopefully you have some great questions. And if there's any questions in here, I will repeat them. If you have any questions, let us know as well. I appreciate you. Thank you. Hold on just a couple of minutes.
The doctor at Garden of Dogs Resort and Spa. They do metabolic testing about color and all that stuff.
Oh, really?
A huge comprehensive health and wellness stuff. And chatted with them. So they're awesome.
Hello there.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't know if you want to say
I'm
next to
Kim.
Jenny, I can sit over here.
Oh, it doesn't matter. Either one is fine. Hi, how are you? Good.
Have you met Jenny?
No.
Okay.
I'm Kim.
This is Kim.
Nice to meet you.
Kim is.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead here in just about a minute, get started here. The retired military and me is already starting to twitch because we're past 6, but it's not your fault. All right. So don't worry about it. It's a me thing, not a you thing. So I am so thankful to be here. Again, my name is Troy with the Reichert Mortgage Team. I'm a local Falcon mortgage broker. I've been doing this for, goodness gracious, about 9 years now. Retired from the Air Force in 2012. Through some twists and turns, I ended up into the nutty mortgage business, but I love every weird, crazy minute of it. It's amazing. And I wanted to say thank you to Sandy. Sandy's here to allow me to talk to you folks, to give you a little bit of insight into why financial health, to include your mortgage potentially, or why you should get a mortgage, is really crucial to your physical health. So we're going to talk about that a little bit, and then we're going to dive into a little bit of the mortgage 101 type stuff. But I wanted to let you know, if you saw out there on Facebook, we do have a registration form. Those who are physically here, we have that registration form. Those who are in the Zoom or who watch the recording later, we're going to get that digitized version out to you. If you fill out that form, you will indeed be registered for that $250 gift card. It's just a Visa gift card. You can use it anywhere. So I didn't pick like Cold Stone Creamery. I don't know how much, Sandy would like me if I actually gave someone $250 worth of ice cream, but I wanted to make sure that people could use it. I do need every piece filled out on that form though, guys, okay, to be eligible Very, very upfront, I'm going to call you. Okay. I'm going to let you know if you won or if you didn't win. I'm going to check and see if you have any mortgage questions once and only once. Okay. If you tell me to pound sand afterwards, that's totally cool. Don't worry about it. So without any further ado, we're going to go ahead and get started. For those that are here, I do have some handouts. Feel free to take some notes, ask some questions. Okay. And I'll be happy to answer anything you have. There's nothing out of bounds here. Some people don't feel super comfortable asking questions. It might be a sensitive question that you have about a challenge in home purchasing, or something like that. If that's the case, all of my contact information will be there. You can call, text, email me anytime. I'd be happy to answer questions free of charge, by the way. So, all right.
In the newsletters and on my website. On
Okay.
places so they can contact you.
Yep, it's also on Sandy's website as well. So I guess I'm nationwide. That's pretty cool. I like that. So I'll take it. Worldwide. I love it. I love it. So really the question that a lot of people might have, but maybe not, because you might feel this in your own life, where how is financial health and physical wellness tied together? And I mean, obviously financial wealth and financial health can be a stressor, right? It can absolutely be a stressor. It is, according to statistics, one of the most argued about in a relationship, right? For sure. And, especially with, in my world, mortgage rates going up, the price of renting going up, the price of housing going up, that can be a real stressor to you. And I want to be here to be a part of that, to at least educate, to make sure that some of those myths that are out there are being dispelled, and you feel really, really empowered with the information that you have to figure out your best path towards home ownership, or maybe a refinance to help kind of figure out that budget that you've been maybe struggling with, or just trying to get that better position for you and your family and create that legacy. Believe it or not, home ownership does create a legacy for you and your family. And we'll talk about that in a little bit. So the University of Purdue did a study, independent study, and high levels of stress can absolutely affect your physical symptoms like sleep loss, right? Anxiety, headaches, migraines, immune system compromising, digestive issues. I mean, it affects the whole entire body in some form or another, potentially. It might manifest itself differently for you, but these are the different types of things that it can show in your body. And if you can get that financial piece kind of figured out for you, at least better, it can absolutely help you in your physical wellness in addition to that. So another thing that sometimes happens is with these financial stressors, some people look to coping mechanisms. They might look to alcohol, or they might look to illicit drugs, right? Some overeating is definitely one of those things where some people stress eat, those kind of things. So again, the whole entire holistic well-being, it's financial, it's physical. There's other areas as well. We're going to stick with the financial, of course. Sandy has the physical stuff on definitely wired. So ask her about that stuff. I'm here to be a little bit of an expert on the financial stuff. So let's talk about buying your home. Now, you might be a home buyer right now, right? Maybe you want to upsize, maybe you want to downsize, maybe you're renting and you're looking to purchase that home, and you think, you know what? Someone told me that because of X, Y, and Z that I couldn't buy a new home or buy a home at all. I'm here to tell you that's not always the case. The best way to make sure is to talk to a mortgage professional, right? They will lay everything down for you. And if you meet all those gates already, you might be surprised. A lot of times people absolutely do. Maybe there is a challenge. Maybe there's an income challenge because you want a bigger home, or maybe there is a credit challenge, right? Something like that. I'm certified in credit counseling, so I can help you craft a plan for that as well. Maybe the answer is you can't buy a home right now. But you know what? That's not a no. That is a, what do we do to get a yes? That's how I look at it, okay? I want to make sure that you understand that there is no with me. I work equally as hard as anybody else that wants to work on their home financing. I can't work harder, that never works, right? But I can work equally as hard with you. So let's talk about some of the things, understanding the home buying process, right? Buying a home can absolutely, I'm a homeowner. I remember buying my first home. It was super exciting. I remember buying my second home, and because we outgrew the first one and we had to move, right? I'm active duty at the time, and I had to move from Nebraska to New Jersey. Then I moved from New Jersey to here in Colorado. So each time it's a different thing, right? For sure. But being a homeowner, in my opinion, brings you that peace of mind. You have a place that you can call your own, and you get to grow into that with your family, and it's really, really important. It'll also help you make some informed financial decisions. So what I mean by that is the home buying process is a piece, right? And then there's investing, and then there is budgeting and those kind of things. So this is a piece that will help figure out some of the other ones for you, okay? So here's some of the advantages of home ownership, right? So there's some tax benefits, bells, whistles, all that good stuff. I am not a tax advisor, okay? So each year they do their own thing, but I think it's fairly safe to say that there are some tax benefits to owning a home that can indeed reduce your tax liability each year, okay? And plus building wealth. There was a study done, homeowners, believe it or not, are 36 times more wealthy than renters, okay? And a lot of that has to do with mindset, and a lot of it has to do with the appreciation that you get over time on your home. And so when you have that appreciation, you can leverage that in a lot of different ways. Right now, as you know, if you're a homeowner right now, the last couple years in Colorado have been very nice to you, right? I think the average appreciation over the last couple years is 8 to 10% a year, which is ungodly. It's a lot. The average is usually about 3 to 4% a year. Okay. I purchased my home. I was active duty again in Colorado in 2008. What a horrible time to buy a house. But I knew that, okay, I'm going to be here for a while. And I knew that I could weather the storm, and kind of, I went underwater for a little bit, and then indeed saw the appreciation. And so what I did is I actually have a home equity line of credit, or a HELOC, on my home. And I use that to invest in other properties and fix them up and flip them and sell them and those kind of things. So you can use that appreciation in your home to affect other areas of your financial stability. So that's just an example of what I'm doing right now. But I just wanted to give you that example so you know that it's a real thing. It's not just something that's on paper. The growth in equity we talked, and then as you pay it down, right? So when you have a mortgage, normally, every monthly payment that you make, some of that loan amount is paid down. Some of the interest is obviously paid. And then most people escrow, right? You know, meaning that your lender pays your property taxes and homeowners insurance for you when they're due each year. So, but those are the major blocks of your mortgage payment. And each time you make that monthly payment, you owe less, and hopefully your home is appreciating at the same time. So you're seeing this thing going on, right? So very, very cool. And you don't get that as a renter, to be very honest with you, okay? Financial stability. So think about this. Usually, if you stay in a job for a while, you're going to get promoted. You're going to get pay raises, those kind of things, as you stay in that company longer. So as hopefully you make more money each year, your mortgage payment is fairly stable. And what I mean by fairly stable means there are some times when your mortgage payment goes up. One, if you have an adjustable rate mortgage, and yes, there's a time to do that. And two, if you're indeed doing that escrow that I talked about, and your property taxes go up, or your homeowner's insurance goes up, right? They're going to do an analysis and say, we need to collect more money each month so we have enough to pay those things because they went up. So it's not a function of your loan, it's a function of your property taxes and homeowner's insurance. So, but it stays fairly stable. So what you see is if you see your pay going up year by year and you're a homeowner that's fairly stable, your budget becomes better and better. When you're renting, that's not necessarily the case. I'm going to show you a chart here in a little bit, but by and large, when you're renting, people own those apartments, people own those residences that they're renting out. And guess what? If they see that they can charge more rent, they're going to do that normally, right? And it's just a function of why they own that home. They want to make money, right? So a homeowner has a lot more stable budget than a renter, generally speaking. There's a time for either, but most of the time, home ownership is the best way to go. So I wanted to show you this chart here. I know you can't see it in Zoom world, but we'll give you these slides as well. It's a historical chart of what interest rates are doing. This is the one thing that I hear a lot right now. Interest rates are going up, right? They're going up by pretty sharply based upon what we saw last year. But historically, we're back where we were in 2018. Okay, so they're not super high. If you look at this chart, obviously in the 70s and 80s, I mean, we're talking crazy 17 to 20% interest rates, right? But remember, the houses were 25 grand. So I mean, there's that, right? But you're buying a smaller mortgage for sure. But generally speaking, when you look at that chart, you're like, oh, right now we're in pretty good shape. So don't let the interest rates scare you into making a decision to stay on the sidelines. Okay, talk to a mortgage professional. Hi, and see if it makes sense for you to do that. Right?
What did the mortgage rates get down to, like at the lowest currently, or in the recent, years, months, whatever?
Yeah.
What would you say would be like a typical average of the last 5 years?
Sure. The question was, what is a typical interest rate over the last 5 years, and what were they kind of like last year? The answer is it depends upon the loan product, of course, right? Are you doing a conventional loan, FHA loan? How much are you putting down? A VA loan, right? Those kind of things. So what I can tell you is the average rate for any of those right now, last year, they were about a point to a point and a half lower last year. Okay, but I don't know if you can see this chart. It was the lowest in history. Okay, the lowest in history. So it's not a super great gauge on what the interest rates are doing today. It was a phenomenal time to refinance and buy a home. It's still a great time to refinance and buy a home if it makes sense for you and your family. And over the last 5 years, yeah, they've been hovering in about what they are right now. Again, there's some dips where they're lower. There were some dips where they were slightly higher, or some crests, but they've been kind of in this little spot for a while. I will say, you didn't ask this question, but I'm gonna say it. I think rates are going to go higher this year. Okay, so if you're thinking about doing anything, let's put that plan together potentially, and I would recommend pulling the trigger if it makes sense. Did I help? Did I answer that question for you? Okay. The next one is the home prices. Well, of course, right? You can kind of see they go up and up and up, and then 2008 happened, right? And we see a sharp decline. But when you see sharp decline, when you look at it historically, a lot of people could absorb that. And then if you see the difference between 2018 and 2020, it just does this, right? So again, a good time to be a homeowner for sure. And I see that still happening. I'm not an expert, by the way, in this, but I do read a lot of articles, and I will say that cycles happen, right? There's going to be a time where, home prices might plateau or go down a little bit, and then they'll go back up, right? So we know that kind of happens in the housing cycle. We don't know when, but all the experts are saying, specifically in Colorado, we shouldn't see a dip at least for 3 to 5 years. Okay, if at all. We might see a plateau, but I don't think we're going to see a dip. Now, something could change, right? We got some people overseas that are doing some pretty crazy things, right? And that could change some things as well. So global factors are definitely a part of it. But the Federal Reserve met again today, and they're saying, yeah, we have to try to stop this inflation thing from going on where the price of beef is going crazy and the price of gas is going crazy. And the way that they do that is, one of the ways they do that is raising interest rates, because if you raise interest rates, it lowers demand, so it increases supply, right? Keeps prices down. So kind of an economics 101, you're welcome. So so let's talk about rental information for a little bit. Rental, the average rent has gone up about 8.86% per year since 1980, per year, okay? When you look at home ownership and stabilizing that mortgage payment, you can, if you're gonna stay in a home for a while, almost always the best bet to be a homeowner, if you can, than being a renter. Think about it. That chunk of change that you give to your property manager or your landlord, right? Doesn't do anything for you. They say thank you very much, and they make the mortgage payment with it. You're basically paying their mortgage, or if there's no mortgage on it, they're realizing the cash flow from that, right? So why not flip the script and you become your own landlord, right? And you make the payments on your own mortgage to affect you and your family, and generally speaking, over a long period of time, affect your legacy for your family and your wealth. So yeah.
For someone that's renting a home or renting an apartment, and you know, when you're paying already, and it's, you know, people are looking at, I have to put 20% down on a home,
Mhm.
and the house prices out here are near, you know, $500,000. How do you help people manage that?
Sure. So the question was, when people are looking to buy a house, and typically speaking, you have to put 20% down, and the house prices are just going up right now. Let's say it's a $500,000 house. The average the average loan amount right now is in the 400s, right? Which means there's down payment, so that means the purchase price is higher, right? What I would say to that is, the 20% is possible, but it's not the only option. One, VA loans don't need to have any down payment. FHA loans, although they're hard to get under contract currently, not impossible though, only need 3.5%. And in some circumstances, a conventional loan only needs 3% down, but at the minimum 5%. So now, if you don't put 20% down on a conventional loan, there is that monthly mortgage insurance, right, that you have to contend with, so your monthly payment is higher. But again, if it makes sense over the long term to pay a little bit more on a monthly payment now to stabilize that and realize the appreciation over the long term, absolutely a winner. Do it all the time. Does that answer your question? Okay. Any questions over on this side by chance? How we doing so far? Okay. Am I doing okay? Yeah. Did I mess anything up? Okay, very good. All right. Okay. Fair market rent for a 2-bedroom apartment, by the way, not a home, an apartment in Colorado, right now is $13.69. Okay. Families usually need a bigger home, you know, than a 2-bedroom apartment, by the way. I'm seeing out in the Falcon area, right? If someone wants to rent a home, I wouldn't be surprised if it's $2,400 to $2,800 a month. Okay. So just realize that that is going up as well. I see it all the time. I know people in the industry that are property managers, people that are renting, and they're just, you know, the market drives what they can and can't do, right? So I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying that's what it is. So why not, you know, yes, maybe a mortgage payment is a little high, but normally speaking, right now, they're on par with rental, and maybe even lower than a mortgage payment than a rental payment. We're going to, Sandy, I apologize. How much time do we have?
As long as you like.
As long as I'd like. Oh, that's a very bad answer, by the way, Sandy. So, yes, where's Cold Stone, right? So everybody's ordering ice cream in here. Sorry, Zoom people, you get your own ice cream. So let's talk about the home buying process a little bit. I know some of you might have been already through that. It's always good to have a refresher for those who might not. This is kind of a crash course, right? Your situation might have some different twists and turns to it, but that's my job and a real estate agent's job as professionals to make sure you're ready for that. Okay. So some of the things we're going to talk about are financial documents. We're going to talk about house hunting, and we're going to talk about putting in an offer on a home, and then closing on that home and you becoming a homeowner. Very cool. And remember, it doesn't mean to have to be a primary residence where you live there. This could be an opportunity to buy an investment property, right? Maybe you want to be one of those landlords out there to buy that investment property and rent that out, right? So this would be a perfect opportunity to do those kind of things. So let's talk about financial records. I'm not going to go knee deep into the nitty gritty, but there's some major categories, right? We collect your job history. We collect income records, pay stubs, W-2s, those kind of things. Documentation of assets, that's a huge one in our world. You know, checking savings, your retirement accounts, your 401ks, stocks, if you got crypto, all that good stuff, right? Those are tangible liquid assets that we can use. So really, we put that all in a blender, right? And we see what you could potentially qualify for, or again, if there is that challenge out there, we can now have some information as to what that challenge is and how do we overcome that challenge, right? So we're going to evaluate that stuff. Anybody know what PITIMI is?
Principal, interest, taxes, insurance.
Oh boy.
Insurance.
Oh, we have a winner. We have a winner. Not the $250 gift card, by the way, but you know, so yeah, so PITIMI, when you have a mortgage and you get a mortgage statement, it's your principal, right? Paying down your loan, interest, taxes, insurance, and if you have it, your monthly mortgage insurance. So that all of that encapsulates a total monthly payment. All right. And then we look at your total debt to income ratio, right? So, I mean, think about it. It's your debt, right? Those are the things that show up on your credit report, your minimum monthly payments, all that good stuff. It could be if you're required to pay child support or separate maintenance, those kind of things, those count into that equation as well. And then your income. Are you employed? You know, obviously the income you make from employment. Let's say your retirement, let's say if you get a pension, for those VA folks, if you get some VA disability, right? Those kind of things, those all fold into that. Social Security, there's a laundry list of potential income requirements. Those are the biggies, right? And then we look at your credit score. I do want to say one thing, your mortgage credit score is not what you see on Credit Karma, okay? If you tell me Credit Karma, I might hang up on you. All right. So don't talk to me about Credit Karma. Credit Karma is a credit. Sorry, somebody asked what Credit Karma was. Credit Karma is a third-party company out there that monitors for a fee your credit if you want them to. Okay, something you sign up for. You know, you can do it through Experian. You can, you know, so. But what they're monitoring is your credit score for credit cards, right? Believe it or not, you have many credit scores out there. If you're looking to get a credit card, that's one score. Auto loan, that's another one. Student loan, that's another one. Mortgage, that's another one. It's each credit, you know, opportunity, they weigh things differently, and they have, you know, their lowest credit score is different than other people's lowest, and their highest is different than their highest. So I get that conversation all the time when people talk to me. I ask them, what do you think your credit score is? And they say, I think it's 720. And I say, before I even run this thing.
Were you looking at Credit Karma?
No, I do get a credit score, a Falcon.
Yep, sometimes it's on your credit card statements. You see that sometimes, and yeah.
My bank, I guess.
Yep.
Is it the same for the banks?
It's no, it's not. No, a mortgage credit score is its own thing. So a mortgage company to try to get mortgage credit is going to get a different score than what you're seeing out there. And unfortunately, it's generally lower. Okay, generally lower.
The mortgages
generally.
The
lower than
mortgage is
other.
generally lower than what you might see on those other sites and on, yep, for credit cards and those kind of things.
He's like, no, you got a 602.
Yeah. She said, oh, I thought I had a 750 and it's a 602. I've never seen that sharp of a swing. But you know, there's a first time for everything, I guess. So, but we do analyze that stuff. Okay. Credit score is very important. But in the mortgage world, depending upon what you're trying to do, we can handle challenged credit scores sometimes, or find a way to get you where you need to go. Okay. So next thing we want to talk about is, and I apologize, I'm hearing some things in my ears. Are they asking questions or anything like that that you're aware of? I don't know if they are. I'm just hearing some dings in there.
That's people probably joining in.
Okay, very good.
So we have,
Nice. Okay, we got people joining in.
you know, I don't know.
Yep. That's very good. So then we talk about evaluating your home loan options, right? We collected those documents, okay? Now we're gonna, again, put that in the blender and figure out what you can do. What type of loan product? FHA, VA, conventional, USDA. There's some what we call niche products out there, or non-QM. That those are the outside the box things that we could look at as well. Okay, so one question that I want to ask out there is, should you work with, you know, the direct big box folks, or should you work with a mortgage broker? I'm a broker, okay, so I'm biased, by the way. So this is a biased opinion. A local mortgage broker has a lot of advantages that some of those big box folks don't. One, we know the local area, right? We live here, we work here. We know a lot of the relationships that are required to help you get an offer accepted. Where, what is it, Missile Mortgage, you know what I'm saying? Not Missile, but the other thing. They don't live here, right? All they're doing is, I call them just people in a cubicle doing this thing. And they say, yep, spit out something, and they're going to be available maybe 9 to 5 if you call through the phone tree. For me and my team, you know, we answer the phone, right? And we know that evenings and weekends are important as well. So I would say a mortgage broker that's local is very important. What can we help you with? We talked about providing value, right? Mortgage expertise. Again, I've been doing this 9 years. All I do is mortgages. That's it. I'm not a bank that does, you know, checking and savings and all that other stuff. I live and breathe mortgages every single day. And we talked about availability after hours and local knowledge as well. So we can, again, help you with credit issues if you have them. You might think you do and you don't, or maybe you think you do and you do. I did take a course in credit counseling, so I can help you out with putting that plan together.
What would you say would be one of the most common things you need to help people with as far as their credit scores are concerned?
Yeah, the question was, what are some of the common things, or the most common thing that I have to help people with regarding their credit? So I'm gonna put two things out there. One is credit card utilization. Okay, so credit card utilization factors 30 to 35% of your credit score. Huge, huge. So what I mean by that is, what are your balances compared to your limits on your credit card? Okay. Believe it or not, if you have a $250 balance on a $500 limit, that's just as bad as a $2,500 balance on a $5,000 limit card. Doesn't matter. It's all the same stuff. So generally speaking, if you can, you want to be below 30% of your limit in order to realize your best possible credit score. Okay. And the other thing is collections, right? Collections are huge. I saw something recently, I read an article where I think there might be some headway in getting medical collections removed from the credit report, which is massive, by the way. But collections, you know, a credit card that went into default, and, you know, we all have our younger years potentially, or, you know, a life event that caused us to have some of these challenges out there. There's no judgment here. It's just what's in front of us and how do we get through it. So those are the two things that I see the most: collections and utilization on your credit cards. So I'm sorry, go
Like,
ahead.
my kids are younger.
Yep.
And they're gonna be looking into buying a house like in the next couple of years.
Yeah.
So should they start like paying attention to what they do, like with their credit card? Just if they have to use it more, try to get a second credit card or?
It's a good question. So we had a question about, she has some children that might be looking to buy in the next couple of years that are in the younger stages of their life. What should they do? Should they start establishing credit now? Should they get more than one, what we call trade line or credit card? The answer to both of those is yes. So this is what I did for my kids, right? I put them on as an authorized user on my own credit card, and then they're responsible enough to know that they're not supposed to use it. Now, if you feel like maybe they would cross that line, you just take away the credit card, right? You just take it away and they can't do anything. And then basically as an authorized user, they absorb all of that credit history on that credit card immediately, okay? And so that's a really easy way to establish credit for somebody. And then what I did is, okay, now that you have a credit score, go get I would say at least two trade lines. They can do what's called a secured credit card through like a local bank where they provide the collateral, they provide the money, let's say $500, and that's their limit. And then they can use it to buy a tank of gas or a bag of groceries each month and pay it off each month and show that they're using it and that they have a really good payment history on it. Does that help?
Not go over 30 or 40%, is that what you said?
Yeah, so like if they have a $500 secured card, right, through their local bank, don't go above 150 on that. But I just say, don't even come close to it. Just buy your tank of gas, leave it on there until close to the due date, pay it off, lather, rinse, repeat. That helpful? Good. Okay. And what we do as loan professionals, we also help you determine an estimated purchase price for a home based upon all of that information. Why I say estimated, each house is different, right? Property taxes in this area might be different than property taxes in this area, even though they're the same purchase price. So mortgage professionals, we look at estimated monthly payment. We don't look at purchase price for a house because it's debt to income ratio, right? So we try to frame what we think you can do. And then what I do is I tell my folks, hey, if you see a house that you like that you're going to go see, send me the address. I'll just run it, and I'll look and see what an estimated monthly payment looks like, make sure they qualify. And the other thing is other things that change, such as interest rates can change daily, right? So, what their interest rate was a month ago isn't what it is right now. So we just got to make sure that the market and the interest rates, it's going to potentially change their buying power a little bit. So we just got to look at that. Okay. We look at different loan programs. We talked about that. And we try to manage any issues that come up along the way. Life happens, right? You did miss a payment on a credit card, brought your score down. Do you still qualify? And if so, now what is your interest rate now that you have a lower credit score? Someone lost their job, right? Do you still qualify? Those life events we help figure out for you, okay? Understanding closing costs. So there are costs associated with purchasing a home, right? Some of the biggies, appraisal, potential underwriting fees, and title fees. If you're selling a house, you pay the realtor commissions. If you're buying a house, you don't, okay? And then there's some other miscellaneous fees that go on too. But if you're escrowing, you have to send a pot of money to the lender to start your escrow account as well. They're not closing costs, but it's money needed at closing. And then usually you have to pay your homeowner's insurance up front before you get the keys. So you have to pay a year of your homeowner's insurance up front as well. So everybody's closing costs are slightly different. What I'm seeing right now, the average normal closing costs, homeowner's insurance, and your escrow is somewhere in the neighborhood of $5,000 to $8,000. Okay. And that can come from a bunch of different places. It can come obviously from you, the buyer. Technically speaking, it could come from the seller, not in this market though. All right. You're not getting any of that. It could come from a gift from a relative. It can come from me as a lender. So what happens is if this is your interest rate, I can say, if you qualify and you want a slightly higher interest rate, I can give you lender credit to cover some or all of those closing costs. Okay. So don't think that if you don't have 5 to 8 grand laying around that you can't buy a home. That's not necessarily the case. There are other options out there. Okay. There's a lot of other factors with buying a home, right? We kind of talked about, should you do a fixed rate or an adjustable rate? Normally the answer is fixed. There are times, for example, let's say you're active duty, right? And you know you're only going to be here in Colorado for 3 years, right? You know you're gonna PCS out. You're gonna go ahead and get stationed somewhere else, and you know you're gonna sell that house when you leave. You're not gonna keep it for a rental. You can get a lower rate on an adjustable rate mortgage. You might as well do that because it stays fixed usually for 3, 5, 7 years, right? So it stays fixed for that period of time, and then it starts adjusting. Why don't you just get the lower rate for that fixed period of time, lower monthly payment? If you know you're going to sell, it's a great option. Okay. ARMs get a bad rap. There's no bad products. There's no bad loan products, just bad fits for people, right? So, and let's talk about the number of years. You know, the normal is a 30-year fixed out there, right? Everybody here is a 30-year fixed. I have the ability to customize that. I can do 29, 28, all the way down to 8. Okay. An 8-year mortgage. Yeah, I've never done one, but it's out there. I can do it if you want to talk about it. Some people have 8-year auto loans, it seems like these days, but yeah, it's like the average auto loan is like 7 now or something like that. It's crazy. So, and we talk about the down payment. How much do you want to put? How much can you put? What are the effects of that, right? And mortgage insurance options. What I mean by that is you can do a monthly mortgage insurance if you need to do it as part of your payment, or you can have the lender pay your mortgage insurance through a higher interest rate. Okay, so there's some options there as well. When you're buying a home or refinancing or doing anything like that, please, please, please ask a lot of questions. I love questions. An informed, educated individual or couple or family means that I did my job and they felt comfortable with the options put in front of them, right? So, you know, what is the difference between a 15-year and a 30-year is a great question, right? Obviously, you usually get a lower interest rate on the lower term, but a higher monthly payment, right? So you have to think of, am I going to be able to absorb this higher monthly payment every single month for 15 years, right? So I'm in a 15-year mortgage because I felt comfortable enough to do it, but it took me a minute. I had to kind of think about it a little bit and make sure that I felt good about it. But obviously you pay a lot less interest on a 15-year than you do a 30-year. But the plus side of a 30-year is you have a lower monthly payment that might be a little bit more manageable for your budget, and you still get to see hopefully that appreciation on your home. So both are good options, just a matter of what you're looking for and what you can do. We talked about the difference between an adjustable rate mortgage already, and how mortgage insurance would affect your monthly payment, right? It affects it either through having actually borrower paid mortgage insurance, again, you, or lender paid mortgage insurance, where you don't see it on your monthly payment, except for a slightly higher interest rate than what the market is out there, okay? So this is where I wouldn't say step back as a mortgage professional, but this is where your real estate agent takes the lead. I've analyzed all the documents. We've gone through all the options, and you say, you know what? I like this option. This is my best option. God bless you, by the way. And now I can talk to your real estate agent, and I can say, hey, we had a great conversation. I've analyzed all the documents. They're ready to go at about this purchase price. And then they put them on a search based upon their needs, location, number of bedrooms, you know, those kind of things. So the real estate agent and the mortgage professional work hand in hand to help you, or at least they should, right? So I help with the money aspect of things for sure. They help you with, the home piece, but we're talking constantly and we're in sync with each other for sure. So this is where it gets fun, right? Everybody loves to go look at houses, right? Except for in this market, right? Because now there are some unicorns out there where you get under contract right away, right? But it is extremely difficult to find a home that you really enjoy, that will fit your needs, and then you put an offer in, a very strong offer, but guess what? There's 4, 5, 10, 12 other offers on that home potentially, and yeah, 52, like a whole deck of cards worth of offers on there. And you were number 3, you were a strong offer, but the seller's looking out for their best interest too, which we can understand. And it can get defeating out there sometimes, right? Just stay the course. Realize, don't ever fall in love with a house in this market. Like the house, and then when you get under contract and your offer is accepted, then you can love the house, right? So just realize that that's part of the process right now in this particular market. Be strong, be vigilant, and understand that this is all part of it. Maybe you are that unicorn out there, or maybe not. If there's people out there that are home buyers that are looking to refinance, and some people are like, well, I don't want that higher interest rate. And I know I'm kind of sidetracking a little bit, but I forgot to mention it. Even though you have a higher interest rate, there are times when that makes sense. Let's say there was a life event where you retired. Now your pension is like half of what your paycheck was, right? And you just realize that one of your kids has to move in, and the groceries are going to go up, and you're helping these people out. These life events might require you to access that really cool equity that you've built up in the house to pay off some debts, right? To get that budget back in order. Okay. It might not be a great opportunity, but realize that there is that opportunity out there. And instead of, feel like you're underwater all the time, maybe you can exhale a little bit and figure that out. Yes, you would have a slightly higher interest rate, but if you can pay off, that $650 a month auto loan, if it makes sense, remember, maybe you got some credit card debts out there that, have high interest rates and balances. We can normalize that for you through a cash out refinance. Okay. So back to home buying. All right. Again, that real estate agent's going to help you make sure that we're within budget and that we are looking at things, homes that fit your needs. Okay. I'm not going to get too much into that. Real estate agents can do a Zoom meeting later for you. Okay. Working with a real estate agent, I'm going to skip that for right now, but I will say that just like having a good mortgage professional on your side, having the right real estate agent is paramount. We love our family, right? And sometimes our family members are really good real estate agents, but just because Aunt Sally sells homes part-time might not be the best professional for you.
1 every 8 years.
Yeah, 1 every 8 years is, well, I wouldn't call that a professional. We love Aunt Sally, by the way. Go to Thanksgiving with her, right? But you need someone that will advocate for you, and that is a professional. Okay, that's all I'm saying there.
Real quick question on mortgage professionals.
Yeah.
If someone, especially not in this local area, of course they would be you. But, if they're looking for a mortgage professional, what are some red flags to watch out for?
So when you're looking for a mortgage professional, what are some of the red flags, right? I would say availability is one, right? And rigidity. You need someone that has some options for you potentially, right? And for me, I believe in being relational. Some people think of it as a transaction, where I help you buy this home, I collect a commission, and then you never hear from me. This is my home. Colorado is my home. And I really want to make sure that I don't have to duck into a different aisle if I see somebody at the grocery store, right? That kind of thing. So I'm going to go the extra mile to make sure that you're taken care of. I do have a nationwide referral network of mortgage professionals that I trust. So if there is another state that you need, I am currently licensed in Texas and Florida and Colorado, obviously. I'm working on Virginia and North Carolina, and then after that, it'll be California and Georgia. So by the way, those are the top 7, is that right? Yeah, 7 states for VA loans. Just, that's kind of my niche, my thing. Okay, I'm gonna go very quickly over down payment assistance, okay? People hear of first-time home buyer programs, right? I'm gonna say this, they're great, okay? But they have to be a good fit. And there is no free money out there. There's no free lunch, okay? So how do you pay for it? You pay for it with a higher interest rate, okay? So, and it could potentially push down your buying power, all right? So there's a time and a place for them. I will say this also, getting a down payment assistance program, getting under contract right now is harder than having your own assets. Not impossible, but harder. And I just saw something on Facebook. A real estate agent said that in Colorado Springs, there were, I think, 43 foreclosures that were put on the market. All but 6 of them were chattel loans, which is a down payment assistance program. So it's not that they're bad. You just need someone behind you to talk about it and make sure you're set up for success in the future. If you have any more questions about down payment assistance, let me know. So you went out there and you looked for a house, and now you're going to put an offer on there, right? In this market, you might have to overbid, right? Let's say the list price is $450,000, right? There is a chance that you might have to say, you know what, I'll buy it for $475,000. And oh, by the way, if the appraisal comes in at a value that is under $475,000, I'll kick in extra cash to make up a portion or all of the difference, right? That's what's going on out there right now. I see it all the time. It's more often than not right now, just because the inventory is super low. The number of buyers looking to buy is higher. So supply and demand, right? Economics 101 says you have to pay what the market says is going on. So just realize that some of your monies might need to be dedicated to what we call an appraisal gap, that difference between what the value is on an appraisal and what you put in for an offer on the home. So just wanted to put that out there, that current market, it's very, very possible and indeed probable. So, and then let's say you do, you're going to go through the sales contract, right? That's with your real estate agent. Let's say you get the offer accepted. All right, we're there, right? Yeah, if you buy furniture or you buy another car while we're doing this or anything like that, remember during the application process, I got your address, okay? So please don't do that. Don't do that. If you want to do anything, talk to me first and I'll let you know if it's okay. So, and then through the, once the contract offer is accepted, that's when we go into underwriting. We turn in all those documents, we get the appraisal done, you get the inspection done. It moves so fast, right? And then once everything is done, we get what we call a clear to close. We balance those numbers, right? We figure out exactly how much money, if anything, you have to bring to the table. We figure out exactly what your monthly payment's going to be. And then the documents are put together. You usually go to a title company, you sign your life away, you get carpal tunnel from signing everything. And then, but you're a homeowner, you get the keys. It's all worth it, right? So I kind of wanted to, I know I went through that fairly quickly because each person's journey through that experience is going to be completely different, okay? But that's generally it. Make an offer, get the offer accepted, do the inspection, order the appraisal, return all of those documents that we collected earlier into underwriting, Underwriter says, yes, we like this. We have a couple of questions, but we'll do it. And then we give them the answers to those questions. We get that clear to close. We schedule the closing, and you get to become a homeowner. So very, very exciting stuff. We had one where it was a family that bought it. It was in December, and they were literally crying at the closing table. It's great, right? That's why I do what I do, because it absolutely affects lives. Your financial wellness affects lives in the future, and it does absolutely affect your physical health as well. So I'm going to end that right there. There's a couple other things that I could go through, but I think we've kind of talked about the nuts and bolts of it. I hope you found this useful. I really do. Again, for those people out in Zoom world, we're going to get a digitized copy of that registration for you so you can fill it out fully. All right. No funny, weird, no 8675309 phone number. Okay. All right. No, yeah, that's right. Tommy and the Two Tones for us, you know. So anyway, I can do a myriad of different types of loan products. Okay. I try to pride myself on being an expert in that area. So please give me the opportunity to help you and your family. I promise you this, I'll work extremely hard, and it's my job every single time to not let you down. That's my job. So I'm going to open it up for questions. Any other questions that we haven't answered?
Just to add on to that, you did say that you were to help people improve their credit scores. And maybe they're not quite ready to buy a home now, but they need help getting their credit into a position where they can maybe in the near future. That's something you can help people with as well.
Yeah, so the question was, just to reiterate, that I can indeed help people on their path if they have a challenged credit score to get their credit score up into a position where they can be a homeowner. The answer is absolutely yes. I would say that I can provide, in my opinion, a prioritized plan. I will also add, it's really up to you. Okay, I can't execute the plan for you. I can encourage and I can check up on you, but it's really difficult because a lot of people that are credit challenged, they're budget challenged as well, and I understand that. Okay, but if we come up with a plan, I promise you, the money that you spend to clean up your credit, if you need to spend any, okay, normally you do, the money that you spend, you're going to gain way more than that through better interest rates on everything, not just mortgages, right? On everything. You don't have to go to Santander or whatever auto, you know, I don't know, loan sharks are us out there to get an auto loan, right? You get to get, you know, the cream of the crop interest rates, okay, on everything. It's super important to get that credit score up into a good position. And then once you can buy a home, that's when the clock starts on gaining that appreciation for you, right? So think about this. If you were credit challenged in 2017 and you bought in 2018, I'm telling you right now, if you bought let's say you bought a $300,000 house in 2018, right? That home right now, 4 years from now, on average, okay, is probably worth $475,000 in 4 years. That's not normal, by the way. I'm not saying that would happen with everybody for a 4-year period of time. I'm just letting you know that if you had a credit challenge that took 10, 12, 13, 15 grand to pay, but you got a house and then you have, you know, appreciation of $175,000, I think everybody would pull that one-arm bandit every single time if they knew that they could get that, right? So the answer is yes. That was a long answer to yes, I can help you with your credit.
So how do we know what our score is then? We can't get our score from, or where do we get our score from?
Great question. So the question was, if mortgage credit scores are different than what we're seeing out there, how do we get that score, right? Well, I can do what's called a soft pull. Okay, it doesn't have an inquiry on your credit. I can't give you the score, but I can give you an idea of what it is, and I can give you what's inside it. Or if you actually are looking to buy a home, right? in the future. I can do a hard inquiry. Yes, it will be an inquiry on your credit, but I can give you those scores. Okay.
What does an inquiry on your credit, how does that affect you and why is that a negative thing? People don't want to do that. Why is that?
So the question was, why does an inquiry affect your credit and why wouldn't people want to do that? So they keep it under lock and key, you know, all these people do credit scores and stuff, but generally speaking, an inquiry means, hey, I need money, right? And when you see an inquiry out there that says, hey, I need money, that brings your score down just slightly, usually 2 to 5 points, okay? And it stays out there for about 120 days. So it's not the end of the world. But if people are counting those and they think they're just might qualify and now we're a little bit lower because of the inquiry, we're gonna have to find out anyway, right? So you might as well do the inquiry potentially, unless you were looking to buy something else, right? And you don't want that to affect that. The other thing is, in the mortgage world, if you have a mortgage professional run your credit, you can have other ones run your credit for up to 30 days with no impact, by the way. So just something to consider out there. Yes, an inquiry will temporarily bring down your credit score, but I think the knowledge is worth the 2 to 5 points.
Why can't you give them their score if it's whatever you call it?
Why can't I give the score for the soft pull, the one that isn't an actual inquiry? Because you're not actually trying to get credit at that point, right? The credit world out there, the rules are very, very strict, okay? For instance, I can't give you a copy of your credit report, okay?
We
I
got
can-
all this information on you, but I'm not gonna share it with you.
It's a little bit like that, yes. I mean, we get a peek behind the curtain, but guess what? You don't get to see behind the curtain sometimes. And it's, believe it or not, it's to protect you. It seems a little backwards, but it is. And so if the soft pull isn't to actually gain credit, then we can't give you that score. Again, I can kind of give you a range or, you know, that kind of stuff.
It's like you're between
Yeah.
718 and 720.
The range, she said, you know, is it between 719 and 720? I wish I could be that specific, but I love your style, by the way. So, but we can go either way. Some people just don't want the inquiry, right? I try to encourage them and coach them and say the inquiry isn't going to be the end of the world, but they're like, no, don't run my credit. I said, okay, well, we got a plan B. You want to do that? Plan A is better. Plan B is fine. Yep. Any other questions I can help out with? You've been very quiet.
I do have I don't know if it makes sense, but so I have a family member who is selling their home.
Okay.
So that they can turn around and buy another home and use the equity or whatever it's called
Sure.
to pay off all of their debt.
Yes.
But their mortgage for the new home would be doubled because of prices.
Okay.
Now, like, is that a smart thing to do? It sounds amazing. And I'm watching them go through the process and I want to know if that's something that would be smart to do.
Okay.
Here in Colorado and Meridian.
So the question was, she has an individual that she knows that is selling their current house and they have a metric crap ton of equity in the house. So there's a lot of equity in it. And what they're doing is they're taking that equity and they're going to pay off all of their debts, right? And then they're going to go buy a new house that is probably double their mortgage payment now and have a higher mortgage payment. Is it the right thing to do? The answer is maybe, and I hate to be vague about it, but what kind of debts are they paying off, right? Are they paying off auto loans, right? So are they doing it just to do it, or do they need to do it? Let's say they're upsizing on their house, or you know they want acreage out east, right, in Peyton, and this is going to be their forever home. And they know they're going to be in a few years, they're going to be on a fixed income and they need to get rid of this stuff. That might make sense, right? But if I'm not a super fan of paying off auto loans, by the way, on the surface, because those are amortized over 5, 6, 7 years, right? If you have 3 years left on an auto loan and you put it into a 30-year mortgage, you just amortize that over 30 years and paying a lot more interest on it, right? But there's a time and a place for that. It's just not always correct, the correct way to go, in my opinion. So again, speaking with a mortgage professional that has your best interest at heart to say, are you sure you'll really need to do this? Let's talk about it, is important. Yeah. So it could be, might be, maybe.
Their thought is that whereas right now they may be paying $7,000 to $8,000 a month on all this different debt.
Mhm.
They'll only be paying $4,000 on the mortgage and not having to pay this.
Yeah, and there's some freedom in that, right? Maybe they want to, you know, they want to go on vacation every year and enjoy life. That's important too. Not everything's about dollars and cents, by the way. Okay, it's about living your best life, right? Finance is part of that, but it's not the end all be all.
And Danielle just had a comment. Thank you so much for the information. She's the one that I couldn't see her.
Oh, okay.
Zoomed in through it, so she's said
Danielle?
thank you. Yeah, and she said great information. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you, Danielle, if you're still there. I appreciate it. Thanks again. I know we were about an hour on this thing. I'll go ahead and end it right here. If you guys need any help with anything, or if you know somebody, even if they've already talked with a mortgage professional, a second opinion is never a bad idea. Unless you talk to me first, then don't do that. So I'm just kidding. So, all right. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Thank you again, Sandy.